Hey, you guys need to check out the YouTube channel. Put sage on it. Barbecue. Like, seriously, you need to watch that YouTube channel. Watch all those videos so you can learn how to barbecue. Because girls like guys with great barbecue skills. So check out the YouTube channel. Put sage on it. Barbecue. And all your wildest dreams will come true.
Welcome back to the channel, Put Sage on It Barbecue. As always, I am Sage. Thank you for joining me for what will be the greatest friggin' barbecue video of all time. Gosh. Okay, forgive that impression. I'm sorry. I'll work on it. Thank you, Patrick Cutler, for that wonderful intro. Yes, this is going to be the greatest barbecue video of all time, as well as the most watched YouTube video of all time. And I can't take credit for that. You made it happen. But Patrick Cutler was definitely a great part of it. And again, thank you to Patrick Cutler, to Cameo. I personally did not know I needed a Napoleon Dynamite impersonator in my life until I saw this guy on Facebook. And check him out. I just can't get enough. It's just great. He does a lot of sports stuff. It's bright out here. You know, any kind of birthday video that you want, anything that's, just special and funny. It's just fun. And again, thank you, Patrick Cutler, for that. It really made this whole video, no doubt. But anyway, we'll get into it today. We're going to do a little brisket action today on this bright, beautiful Labor Day weekend. So let's get to it. We got the KC Combo pellet smoker heating up here, heating it up to 250. You can't see these digital displays on cameras, but 250. Put sage on it, as is my word. We are using pellets today with basil and sage as the ingredients, as the aromatics. So again, just heating that up. So let's go take a look at our brisket. We're going to keep it simple as I always do. Let's do it. All right, guys, we got a nice piece of brisket flat here. So I'm just going to take just a paper towel and just kind of pat that dry a little bit. As I always do. I do this with just about everything. And even doing things like this, no matter what you're cooking, whether it's brisket, whether it's chicken, pork, this will just help with your crust, your bark, just giving you a little bit of a better bite when you bite into it. So again, you don't have to go crazy. Just getting some of that moisture off of it. And if you don't have a pan like this, y'all know what I'm talking about, then you're just not even doing life right, right? You know, these we all got them down in the bottom under the oven somewhere. All right, so we patted that dry. And again, I'm just going to go as simple as I can. Today, I'm actually going to use a little bit of olive oil as my binder. It goes on nice and smooth, and you can use mustard if you want. And I know when I first started barbecuing, I was like, mustard, I don't want that flavor in my barbecue. Not that I wouldn't, now that I've grown some with some kinds of meat that we eat for flavor. But you don't taste it, that's the point. So just putting a little olive oil on here. You can use just plain water if you want. But that'll help our seasoning stick. Speaking of seasoning, if you've ever been to Buc-ee's, I wish the lighting was on the other side here. That's too far away. There you go. Now you can see it. I'm using the Buc-ee's brisket rub. My setup's a little bit maybe backwards, if I'm honest today. But I'm just kind of making do with what I got today. I left my original tripod somewhere in Florida, so here I am. I'm just using someone else's, borrowing it. But Buc-ee's has really good rub in my experience. I was actually really surprised. If you look back on my channel, it was like a pork rib rack that I made, and I used a Buc-ee's rub on that. It was actually a steak rub. Ended up being the best thing that I've made on the channel to date, and I think the rub had a lot to do with it, if I'm honest. So this rub, again, we got our binder, so we're just going to put this rub on liberally. Don't be shy. I honestly, you know, I mean, I say that, but I don't go as heavy, I think, as some people who make brisket do. And I've seen people go, especially with pepper, you know, and there's pepper in this rub, but I've seen people use straight salt and pepper and really just pepper the rub down. And it's almost, for me, ends up like pepper loaf. You know, if you've ever had that, it almost tends to be too much. So that's one thing that I want you to always think about, whether you're watching me, watching anybody, do anything, right? No matter how long they've been doing it, you can still do your own thing. It's okay to say, you know, I kind of want to do something a little bit different. Or, you know, I don't wholeheartedly agree with this or that, as far as your own preference anyway. It doesn't mean it's wrong. You know, there's nothing that's, well, I won't say nothing, because, you know, there are some hard and fast rules with barbecue, and they have to do with time, and they have to do with temperature, and they have to do with moisture. You know, there's some rules there you definitely don't want to break, or your barbecue is not going to be good. It's not going to be what you want it to be, for sure. You know, you cook it too hot, you dry it out, you don't give it moisture. And of course, time, you know, it takes time to make it. You can't rush it. You can't be pulling this brisket off at 165 degrees internal temp and think that you're going to enjoy it, because you're just not. So anyway, I say all that to say there's some hard and fast rules, but there also are some things that, you know, it's just preference at the end of the day. So again, I could season this thing until it just looked like a black mass, basically, but I'm not going to do that. But I'll tell you what, though, this is an interesting looking rub, and I kind of like that. It's got a yellow to it. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can. We'll scoot this up here and let you kind of see. Yeah, see that yellow hue? And I haven't looked at the ingredients per se, so I don't know exactly what's causing that yellow hue, but it smells wonderful. I'll say that. All right, so we got that rub down. I'm just actually going to let it sit for just a few minutes, right? We got it out of the fridge. You know, I don't necessarily have to get it to room temperature, but I want to give it about, you know, 5-10 minutes or so. Smoker's still heating up anyway. Just kind of let that rub kind of soak in a little bit. Start letting this look more wet, I guess, is probably the description. If you ever do pork rub, you'll see that when you put the rub on it, it looks really dry at first, but when you let it set for, like, you know, 10 minutes or so, it doesn't take long, it'll start to look wet. And again, that's that moisture that you want. That rub is starting to be drawn in. So we're going to let that happen, and then I'm going to get back and put this on the smoker, and we'll get it started. So, smoking good. I just put me a Red Bull can in there, filled it full of water. So, at this point, it's a waiting game. So, I can go find something to do. Basically, I can do whatever I feel like doing. Gosh. All right, I promise that's the last one. I'll stop. Oddly enough, after just telling you guys that I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing, well, my girlfriend Reba has a 1989 Chevy Cavalier Z24 convertible. And if any of you guys remember these cars, they called them the Camaro's little brother. They were just cool cars. I mean, you just gotta love the thing. But anyway, I'll show you that in a second. But I'm installing a battery. See, this thing won't start, and we suspect it is the battery. So that is what I'm doing. And like I told you, I mean, I was gonna do whatever I feel like doing, but the thing is Reba makes the best roast that I've ever had, and I don't want to be fooling around here. You know, I am not gonna mess around with that. I'm just telling you that right now. I've done some stupid things in my life, but losing out on this roast is not gonna be one of them. So I'm going to see if I can get this battery installed. So just bear with me here. The visibility's not great. You need a really long tool, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so, yeah, I think I got the socket on here. So this is basically the mounting clamp that holds this thing in place so that your battery don't fall out going down the street. Well, you gotta hit the hole too. It's a whole thing. We're having fun now, ain't we? Oh, I think I was there. I just had to keep drilling. Lord, keep swimming. I'm being stupid. We'll get there. We'll get there. Even if it is the hard way, the long way. Let's see. I might be catching. Might be catching just a little bit. I think we are. I think we're going to get there. Yep, we're starting to get a little torque. Okay. Again, that'll keep our battery in place. So, we'll lay that aside somewhere. Try not to lose it. Aside from that, we just have a couple of little bolts here that we're going to hook up. Negative and positive. Make sure you hook the right one up to the right one. You don't want that kind of trouble on your hands. I gave a guy a jump start one time. Out of the kindness of my heart, as people have helped me before in life. And I assumed everyone knew how to work jumper cables, but this guy did not. And he ended up frying my car. That's no joke. $2,200 worth of damage. It was an absolute disaster. I hooked my end up right. He hooked his up wrong on his car. Trying to find a socket that fits here. Could have swore I had one out. Maybe I did not. Maybe I used a wrench. Oh, I bet I used this tiny little wrench right here. I did. We about got it tight anyway. Okay. That one's hooked up. Doesn't have to be like terribly tight. Then we'll put the positive on here. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Right? I mean, for this, I think I just use the old crescent wrench. Fits every time. There we go. Again, that don't have to be like uber tight. I mean, you want it tight, but don't crank down on it. Okay, so the battery's hooked up, according to my calculations. So if you guys remember, this is the Z24. It needs washed. It's been sitting quite a while. It is a convertible top. So I know some of you guys remember these Z24 Cavaliers. And these things were just cool cars. You remember the cup holders that would hang in the windows? The plastic ones. So I'm now going to get in this car. Again, it's been sitting a long time. And basically, forgive me, I'm setting the angle here. I told my girlfriend this car just needed a battery. Right? So I'm really hoping this thing starts. You guys are seeing this in real time. So we'll see what happens. Wow. This really takes me back. You remember the Pioneer Super Tuner stereos with the dolphins? I mean, you were just cool if you had one of those driving this car. Gosh. So many speakers, you could bounce a quarter off the roof. But let's put the key in and see what happens. All right, we got noise. That's a good sign. Let's see. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. You hear that? Success. It's the little things in life. I am driving this to work for the remainder of the week. I love house sitting. Wow. So, there she is. Just needs a little love. Sure, an oil change wouldn't hurt. We could do whatever. And I'm sorry this video is going to be long. But hey, we're fixing cars. We're cooking briskets. And we're drinking whatever's in this cup. I'm not even going to talk about. So, what a day. I'm just going to let that go ahead and run a little bit. head around here to our smoker. Because, I don't know, we're doing things today. Girls like guys with like barbecue skills and car fixing skills. Gosh. All right, I promised the last one was the last one. I can't stop. I don't know. No more promises. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I jumped out here and stuck a probe in about the thickest part that I could find there. And you're seeing we're getting to about 165 internal. And of course, that's the thickest end. This is even a little thinner down here. So feel free if you do this to kind of poke around in different places, because you'll probably get different readings at different places. But hey, this is pretty much dead on. A couple degrees warmer again up towards this thicker point, so getting a little collar to it. 165. I might let it go a few more minutes and then I'm going to wrap it. Might let it go to about 170 and then we'll wrap. All right, so I took this off the smoker, 170 degrees internal. And what I did was I forgot my spray bottle, or have lost it anyway somewhere. So I put a little apple cider vinegar. I went ahead and did that. So I just poured a little on top. Not too much, just enough to get some fluid, you know, down in there as that finishes cooking. And now I'm gonna get my gloves back on. And I'm just gonna take a stick of butter, a whole stick, why not? And just put it on top there. I'm gonna bring this up. This is the good foil. Heavy duty, non-stick. I think we'll have just enough here. I hate when it's like a tiny bit too narrow or too short, you know what I'm saying. But I think we can make this work. I would love to use butcher paper here, but alas, I do not have butcher paper. Foil will work just fine. Again, a good heavy duty foil. I'm tempted to double wrap, but this is heavy duty foil, so I probably won't. Probably just let the chips fall where they may. So it's a good tight wrap. Got that moisture inside. I think I will go ahead and, well, I'm actually out of foil, so I think that just made my decision for me. That'll happen too. Your barbecue adventures will somehow, sometimes, just decide for you what you're going to do. That'll just put an extra layer over the top. All right, back on the smoker. We're going to cook it to about, I don't know. I mean, temperature is one thing, but feel is really what you want to go for. 200, maybe 203, maybe 205. I guess we'll just see what happens. Okay, so I come out to check on this. You know, I'm getting 203, 204. You know, you can move that around, but it, you know, depends on where you put the probe. Obviously, there are thicker portions and thinner portions. But yeah, all in all, yeah, we're looking at 203 roundabout. I don't want to overcook this, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off. We'll let it rest, and then we'll show you what it looks like. You can see the smoke ring on that. Got a good layer of fat on it. So, this went a long time. Took a long time. But, you know, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do here. All that's left to do is take a bite, essentially. I hear the cat. You hear the cat. So you see your brisket there. Nice smoke ring on it. Meow. You hear the cat? It's really good. And like I say, I just let it rest 30 minutes. Just keep that in mind. You just have to please yourself. So this is definitely very pleasing to me. That's all that matters. And like I say, I was just afraid to let it go any longer. You know, I just didn't trust the probe. I was afraid I'd dry it out if I just kept it rolling. But I'm glad I got it off. It's delicious. And it's the best brisket ever. Thank you for joining me. Put sage on it barbecue. See you next time.